find out. Everything runs through
TechNTortillas.
Everything runs through
TechNTortillas.
Good afternoon and welcome to Tortilla Talk. I'm your host Dylan, and with me today is Troy in Dallas. Troy, how you doing?
Decent. We played a little bit of golf today, so that got me over the loss a little bit because I beat you, Dylan. I beat you with some help from a friend, and I beat Nick, and that's why he's not here today. But if we want to talk about Saturday, we lost there, so we took a giant out.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. My team loses, I lose. Everything's a loss. I don't care anymore. Dallas, how are you?
Not good, Don. Not good. That our opening intro there is tough to watch after the last 2 weeks.
It's where it's welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll jump into it, guys. I mean, not something we're too excited to talk about, but wow. Tech fell to TCU 35-34. Do we just end the podcast here?
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah. Not just a loss, guys. I can't think of a more horrific way to lose a game. I mean, being up 17 in the second half and just literally inventing new ways to hand a football game away. Dallas, just give me your initial thoughts on all of this.
That was like the most poorly managed game I think that Joey McGuire's had since he got here. Like just everything, clock management, play calling. I mentioned like on Twitter that Joe McGuire's got to have as much blame as Zach Kittley for calling that last play where Hammond fumbled. Not only is it like just so soft and so unaggressive, like just not how you should play football to try to take a lead like that to go up 2. With the other team getting a full 2 minutes, and you elect, hey, like let's just try to middle this for a 45-yard field goal. Like that's insane not to go for the first down there. The one of the like small details that just drove me crazy was the timeout. You know, after we turn it over there, we immediately give up a first down, and you call a timeout there. You have 3 full timeouts left, and you elect to use your first one on a play where the clock stops. And I don't know, man. Made me rethink a lot of things. You know, I think Joey still has the potential to be the guy. He's shown in the past that he can pull out close wins, but man, the way they have played in the fourth quarter this year is so bad.
Yeah, and Troy, I mean, Dallas is touching on it a lot here because a lot of this podcast is going to be about coaching decisions because you hand away a 17-point lead in the second half. I don't care what happens or who you are. That just comes down to how you're managing the game. So, Troy, what are your initial thoughts on, just anything in that game?
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
So that graph right there, it portrays mismanagement. If you see the black in the second half, we were supposed to win that game, and it looks like it was damn near 100% like for sure going to happen. And then you can see that TCU takes the lead, and you see that little spike there, a little spike.
That was right before the fumble, I'm guessing.
Right before the fumble. Another mismanagement of the football game. It was just really tough. You know, I think we're kind of used to it, and shame on us for, ever getting our hopes up. But even when we had the 17-point lead, we would have something good happen, and we were just like, well, let's just wait. Just wait and see what happens. And slowly but surely, they cut the lead in half and then just took the lead. And it just felt like we were playing not to lose. And that didn't work out for us.
We've done that in every game we've had a lead in too.
Yeah.
Like every freaking game.
And you touched on, a couple of the plays further down the stretch, but even when they have the ball on like the 3-yard line and they opt to go for the field goal, like you want to talk about killer instincts, give Tosh the ball, and if we don't get it, then they have the ball on their 3-yard line.
How about you throw it and
Yeah.
for sure pick up a first down, and if you get the first down, then you can absolutely ice the game on a last-second field goal.
Yeah.
And a closer one too.
I was talking about more so when we had the lead and we could have gone up another touchdown. But I totally agree with that too. I was shocked that we ran it. I was hoping that if your goal was to run out the clock, I don't know why you run that play. I don't know why you give it to your true freshman quarterback that's played all of a half in all of his career. You have if not one of the best running backs in the Big 12 and top 5 in the nation, and you don't give it to him. Like, do the sure-handed thing and let him move the ball in the middle of the field if that's what you wanted. Don't let Hammond run a quarterback power because you want an extra blocker. That's insanity. But it was really disappointing, Dylan. I don't know what to say right now.
Yeah, you guys touched on a lot, and this episode's going to be a forum for, I think, me to talk through a lot of things that are still swirling in my head. But first things first, Dallas, I think you were I can't remember which one of you said it, but you talked about how you just knew it was coming. Like we all knew that we were going to blow it. I was on the phone with Anthony after the field goal to go up 34-21. We all think Hammond looks great. Everything looks great at that point. And I just tell him, like, we know how this ends. Like, we're too high on ourselves. We're going to just go play soft the rest of the game, try to hold on to this lead and blow it. And exactly what we did. We tried to hold on to the lead and blow it. But it's frustrating because is it a culture thing at this point? Because it's something we've lived our whole lives as fans. It's just something we keep seeing. I mean, I don't know. And I don't know what the answer is because we are just good enough to where nothing will change, but we're never going to be great if nothing changes. So I don't know, guys. But
I mean, one thing that for sure needs to change is Tim DeRuyter cannot be the defensive coordinator next year. I've seen people talk about like we have like lack of talent, and I have no idea what they're talking about because we haven't recruited like this on the defensive side of the ball in 15 freaking years, and we are just as bad as any Cliff Kingsbury defense.
Maybe worse.
Some of Cliff's years, yeah, were worse, like legitimately. And I went through. I mean, I know like he had like some good years while he was at A&M and before that, but like his last decade of coaching defense, and then going back to his time as a Fresno State head coach, he never is consistently a good defensive team. He's had one really good year. He was 8th in the country in yards per play, 1 in the 40s, and then everything else is bottom half of FBS. And it's crazy that you give a guy that kind of leash. Like I understand last year there were some improvements on the defensive side, especially like at the end of the year outside of the Texas game. But dude, I'm just so sick of the mediocrity. Like I just give me 1 and 2 win seasons so I don't have to like get my hopes up and I just know we're going to be horrible rather than give me hope that we can actually have a different kind of season than we've been in, that we've had to experience for 15 years of 4 to 7 wins every freaking year.
don't worry, Dallas. We'll go further in on all of that later because you're hitting the nail on the head with a lot of that. But at the end of the day, it's coaching malpractice. But you're saying that people think we don't have the talent, this and that. But I mean, you're up 30. You're up what 17 points in the second half. You were up 34-21. I mean, you put that game away, right?
Talent
I
got you
mean,
there,
yeah,
right?
you're already
Like you
there.
get
Like you
talent to
have the
get there.
talent. So yeah, I just can't. But yeah, we keep talking about coaching. Let's go through a few of the decisions kind of a little further in detail. I'll start with the one that you were talking about, Troy, the field goal. And I'll let you go a little more detail there. I just don't see, in my opinion, you tell me what you think, what kicking a field goal to go from up 10 to up 13 does for you, especially when you're Joey McGuire, who made his brand originally off of being the go for it on fourth guy, using that extra down. And then he got bullied by some fans in the media, so he backed off so much. And now he doesn't do it anymore. But it's like, dude, you're the head coach. Like, it's your job to figure out when it's the right time to go. You don't just go away from it altogether. Or I mean, that's the perfect time to go. What does 10 versus 13 do? Nothing for me. I don't know. Troy, go in on it.
Yeah, so it's the third quarter. We're marching down the field at this point. Taj Brooks is starting to get it going a little bit too. I know he was blocked up a little bit in some of his runs, but it seems like he started to be a little bit more dominant in the third and fourth quarter. And so you're going downfield, and it's 3rd and 11, and he breaks off an 8-yard run to make it 4th and 3 on the 8-yard line. And so, to your point,
Hammond made a brutal read on that first down play where he didn't hand it to him.
Yep.
Yeah,
that was so tough. He had a touchdown.
But yeah, to be up 10 versus 3, and especially in a game where TCU just had explosive plays. There's a difference between being up 17 versus 13, and that's 3 scores to 2 scores. And so it was really disappointing. I think they should have gone for it on 4th and 3, and if you don't get it, then they're on their 8-yard line and going the opposite way. And at that point, they had been getting to Hoover a decent amount. And so who's to say you can't get a sack there, especially knowing what they'll probably have to do. There was no stopping their receiver in that time too, so he probably breaks one off in general. But I didn't like it, Dylan. I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, when you've been aggressive for years and that's kind of what you made your bones on, like, that's the time to do it. That's the time to go for the throat and try to end it. But even just further on, like, I know we've already talked, obviously, about Hammond holding the ball, running the ball there at the end. I get you need to be aggressive. You don't have the points for sure, especially college kickers kicking from that distance. Like, it's not a for sure thing. I do like the thought of running the clock and trying to do like a 4-minute offense. So I'm fine with that, whether you like it or not. Okay, that's fine. But if you're so set that a field goal is going to be what you're playing for, like your mind's already set on it.
The second they got
why is that the play?
On the last possession, it felt like they were not going to try to score a touchdown there. Did anybody else feel like that? Like there was no situation, unless like somebody just breaks like a bunch of tackles and runs into the end zone.
Yeah.
But it felt like there was no way that the coaches were going to try to push for a touchdown there, where you absolutely need it. Because if you score, no matter what, you have to thread the needle to be able to get a game-winning field goal as time expired there. With how much yardage you have left, with how much time is left on the clock, you have to run the exact right amount of plays, pick up X amount of first downs, not get too many explosive plays. Just go be aggressive and win the freaking football game. This is what I tweeted out. They overthink way too much. Just be an aggressive football team. Be aggressive on defense while getting to the passer, which we showed to do today and at certain points. And then on offense, go for the kill shot anytime you can. Score a touch every time the offense gets the ball. I don't care what the situation is. We should score a touchdown. Unless you're taking a freaking knee. It's just so frustrating that they try to they try to plan out like how a whole drive should go like perfectly instead of just being aggressive. Like TCU when they get the ball and they took the lead, you know what they didn't do? They didn't try to run a 4-minute offense and bleed the rest of the clock out so the Tech couldn't get the ball. No, they went and scored.
Yeah, no, it makes sense because I mean, if you change your offense up, you're gonna make mistakes. But again, if you decide to do that, my point is, be smart about it. Like, why are you putting it in the freshman quarterback's hands and even making that a possibility? If you're truly dead set on that's what you're going to do, just give it to Taj 3 times and kick it. Like,
or tell him not to go towards the line of scrimmage. Just go up and take a knee in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Just the whole thing. It makes no sense to me, and it just feels like typical Tech. And I don't know. I don't know what we do, guys. I hope someone has answers because it just doesn't feel like this changes for us.
I do want to say Dallas I don't think TCU intended to score that fast. It's kind of
well, I mean, they threw their first play that they got the ball. They threw a 40-yard pass down the sideline.
Yeah,
like that's not a 4-minute offense. That's not like they could have easily lined up with Junkins in the back not Junkins. What's his face? The wide receiver. In the backfield and just gone power for the first couple of plays. I mean, it had been working, but they saw they had like one-on-one on the outside, and they were like, "Hey, like let's try to push the ball down the field. Let's try to score."
Yeah, they really keyed in on Macho Stevenson and took his lunch money.
Yeah, it was again just a terrible end of the game. We couldn't stop them, and then we decided to not try to score on our part, and that's what happens. You don't stop a team; they put points up, and you decide that you're not going to put points up. Yeah, they'll outpace you at some point. But all right, hey guys, Will Hammond played. He looked good, right, until he got a little freshman-y at the end, but that might happen. What do we think about the future for Hammond? Is that something we can be positive about, Dallas?
I mean, look, everybody's gonna. I think Will Hammond's gonna be a great quarterback. Everybody's gonna get excited about his potential and with potential Micah connection down the line. But I mean, Baron Morton had a more impressive first half of his career. The first time he came out there, me and Troy were talking about this in the group me earlier. I mean, he was leading the number 7 team in the country on the road his first time out. And now 2 years later, everybody wants Will Hammond to start. So I don't think we know what he is. I'm going to guess, though, that if Baron Morton was still in the game on that last possession or the second to last where they kicked the field goal, I bet you that he hands the ball to Taj there and we score.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. Troy, how do you feel about Hammond? A little positivity, maybe, at least something to look forward to?
Yeah, I hope Morton's healthy. I hope he recovers quickly. He's done a lot for us this year, and I think he always goes about things the right way. I enjoy him as a quarterback. That being said, I'm not quite sure what the injury is, so I don't know what the outlook is on that. Relative to Hammond, though, I think that he did an excellent job being thrusted into the starting role in the second half. I mean, he looked really good. 9 for 9 or whatever it was with his first completions, and that wasn't in crunch time. I think that he played really well, and then the pressure, got to him. I don't think that the coaching staff did him any favors either. I think that they got nervous and made him nervous. Sure, he drops the ball and fumbles it, but at least he gets back on top of it and they don't recover that. You can easily recover for that and live on another down. And then that play call, so I'd probably give it 50-50. Like, Sure, the muffed fumble recovery that he did get is his fault, right? But I think that play call and his next fumble that he didn't recover is just a terrible coaching call, and he should have been never put into that situation in the first place. Sure, you don't spin back into a defensive lineman that weighs 300 and something pounds, but the ball shouldn't have been in his hands at that point. However, I think Hammond's looked really good, and I'm excited. I could see us definitely after these two losses going into Iowa State with him and shocking the world because that's what Tech does. But that's a little bit what I think.
The thing Dallas was about to say, I think, and him and I are probably spot on together here. When you run up the middle with a freshman quarterback, you're going to run into 300 whatever pound defensive linemen. So, yeah, maybe that hit doesn't happen all the time, but you're really setting it up to happen if you do stuff like that.
Yeah, but also moved into it. He ate it. He ate it.
Also, I felt like after that muffed snap or whatever, that exchange that he did recover, I felt like the coaches like panicked and didn't trust him after that because then the offense seized. They didn't let him like get to his like quick throws, downfield stuff. Like it was all just little read option and run the ball, quick little passes, trying to get him comfortable again. Like he was comfortable. Like I thought that like you just let him keep rolling. And I think sometimes a quarterback can sense when the coaches are trying to like protect him, and that can give him less confidence, especially when he'd already started like that. Like I wouldn't have minded if like right after that you draw up like a deep shot. Like, hey, dude, we trust you here. Take a shot because he looked good.
Yeah, they definitely shut him down. You could tell like after that moment, it just felt like all right, let's just try to get to the end, and that's what obviously caused a lot of this, right? But yeah, I wanted to bring up Hammond because maybe a little positivity before I ask this question. That's going to bring a lot of negativity. I'll start with Dallas. I think that's where a lot of the negativity is going to come. What's the season outlook for this team going forward?
Your best chance to win is on the road in Stillwater. I don't see how you win either of the next two games. I don't care how well Will Hammond plays. The defense is too bad. And you're going up against a really good Iowa State team and probably the best offense in the Big 12 with Colorado. They're firing on all cylinders. And Sanders just doesn't make any mistakes. Like his completion percentage is way over 70, right? Like I don't know how we are able to stop that. So at best, I think our ceiling is 7-5, most likely 6-6. There's a real chance we lose out.
Troy, what about you?
Iowa State would be obviously really tough to win in. I think, with a week of preparation, Hammond would hopefully look better, but this will be a moment where, he didn't really get to think about getting thrusted into the game. He just went out and did it, right? And now,
I feel like he might be worse if Zach Kitley gets in his head and starts preparing.
Well, and that's the thing. But I think in just a natural progression of a true freshman, if you don't have to think about something and you just get thrown into it, then you're probably better off, in some instances, probably not most often, but now you're going to go prepare for almost a top 10 team. And it's probably just, I don't know, you wonder how he's going to come out and play. I think if he looks like he did in that third quarter, then we have a shot. We can, put up a fight in that game. Colorado terrifies me. That offense is just extremely impressive. Sanders is really good. We're lucky it's at home. You hope that you don't lose 3 in a row, which is not looking great, because you really need that home crowd to be there for that Colorado game. And so that would not be great. We could really be staring at we had a 4-game win streak, and we could just as easily have a 4-game losing streak, if not more, which you already said that, Dallas. Oklahoma State and West Virginia. Oklahoma State's going through a lot right now. You don't know what team you're going to get there. You could have a few people just quit on the season. It's getting pretty close to that point for them. And then West Virginia just put up an impressive win. And you end your season with that, and they'll probably be in a similar situation to us, where if they aren't bowl eligible yet, that could be a game on their schedule that could get them there. They're 4-4 right now, and so they're probably putting us on their schedule and saying, hey, that's a game we can go get. So to say that there's an easy game left on their schedule, there's not. We touched on that a few weeks ago. We really needed these previous two to feel good about the season. We didn't get them. And so, I agree with Dallas that I could see a world where we lose these next 4 games and end the season 5-7. I don't think I'd be shocked if we won the next 4. I don't see how that happens. I think if I was being realistic, I think we go 6-6.
Well, you're both wrong because we are going to win the rest of our games. But if I'm being realistic here, and I'm going to use the term typical Tech, I think we've thrown that around at each other this last week. Guys, if we go 5-7, 6-6 is safe, but 5-7, lose out, accountability will be held at that point. Heads might roll. We know how this goes, guys. We are going to beat Oklahoma State and West Virginia to end the year. We're going to win a bowl game. There's going to be a nice 8 next to our record. And then all the people going into next season, they finished the year strong. Look at them. They're building something there. They have momentum into the next season. This is a sleeper team. And then it's going to be the same roller coaster again. It's just what happens. This is our purgatory, guys. Everyone has their own purgatory. This is our purgatory. This is what we're living in. It's the same cycle every year. We're just so dumb that we keep falling for it. It's what it is. So, yeah, we'll win the last 2 and win a bowl game against somebody.
I'm holding out hope that even if we do go 7-5, that I think there's no chance that our defense has even halfway decent games the next 2. That at the end of the year, our defensive stats are going to be so putrid that you have to fire DeRuyter. I think that's the only hope. And because, look, I've gone back and forth on Zach Kidley. Sometimes I think he's underrated. Sometimes I think that he is an idiot. Even in the last game, I went back and forth. I don't think there's a scenario where he gets fired simply because you're going to look at just about every offensive statistic, and he's improved the last 3 years, and now it's going to be 3 straight years where he hasn't had a starting quarterback start and finish, which you could say is partially on him. But imagine what this team is if you have an average defense. The median FBS team gives up 25 points a game. If Texas Tech does that in every single game this year, you're 7-1 and undefeated in conference play.
Yeah, I don't know if that's possible.
Bigger concern. Huh?
Is that even possible at Texas Tech?
I don't know, man.
Defense. Huh.
All right, Troy. Any final thoughts before we head out today? Anything you want to add on to that putrid performance?
Let me think here. I don't want to see a 5-7 season. I believe in Joey. I appreciate him as a human being, as a leader. These last few games were, probably can't lose games, and we lost them. I think that we have pieces that are very promising, and I'd hate to bottom out and do the whole 3 years, new regime, new people. lose the players, and figure it out all over again, and then we'll be having these same conversations 3 years from now. They've fought back each year, and we talked a little about this year's hole, and I thought we were going to get out of it in the TCU game, and unfortunately we didn't, and so the hole got deeper, and so you would like to see him turn it around, and he's running out of games to do it and easy opponents to do it against. There's not an easy opponent left on the schedule, so he's really going to need to have a come to Jesus with these guys and say, this season is bottoming out, and we're going to have to show some resolve here and win a few games. Like, it's not looking good. But with that being said, I believe in the guy. I think he can do it, and we'll see what happens.
Dylan,
Yeah.
Can I briefly do a little bit?
Go ahead, Dallas.
All right,
The floor is yours for bits.
Since I've been so negative the past 2 podcasts, I'm going to do a little Dallas's positivity corner. All right.
All right, here we go.
All right. Next year will be different. All right. We lost 3 of our starting defensive linemen. We're down an offensive lineman. You've got a bunch of young offensive linemen in the waitings. Micah Hudson, another year into the system, could be a game changer if we keep him. Get a new defensive coordinator in there, potentially. Who knows what happens? If the offense continues to trend up, you're going to have an explosive playmaker in Jacoby Williams out of the backfield next year. I don't think the drop-off will be that substantial when Tots leaves, as crazy as that might sound. The potential is there. Also, what has Joey McGuire done in every November he's been at Texas Tech?
Tell us.
We're going 8-4 for the first time in 15 years, boys.
That's, it's doable.
As doable as 5-7 is, 8-4 is just as doable.
Yeah, I mean, you could say every single possibility, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, we don't even have to wait for next year because we're gonna win 8 games this year, guys.
There you go.
But yeah, Dallas, you already are setting yourself up to be hurt next year. I want to be said, Troy, I still do believe as well in the regime. I just want them to know how hurt I am and how that game is just strictly on coaching. The way that ended, that's just all coaching.
Yeah,
and I didn't watch the presser. I know you're a presser guy. I didn't watch it. I'm sure people took accountability. I don't know. I'm hoping, but it still doesn't do it for me. Oh, they didn't even take accountability. Well,
he blamed the last play on the refs.
Okay, I'm kind of back in on that. I don't even agree, but I like that.
He said Will Hammond had the football.
They said
technically, his legs had it.
Yeah, I'm ready to embrace debate. That I was about to ask that question if that counts.
Yeah, I mean,
sitting on the ball.
I don't know what kind of angle they had, but that's crazy.
Here's Joey's problem, though. If he was winning, some of these games, and if we were sitting here all confident, I'd fight that fight for him. I totally blame all of this on the refs, but he hasn't earned that yet.
I will say there was a face mask on Hammond that didn't get called. There was a face mask on Caleb Douglas, the touchdown play.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
the refs robbed us. We should have won by 17 anyways. Time for 8-4.
All right.
Yeah.
We're winning out.
My God, we're going to win a bowl game and go 10-3.
We're winning out, and somehow the chips are going to fall in the right spot. We're going to be in the conference championship. I don't know what funny math has to happen, but we'll
That's
do
gonna
it.
be some crazy math.
Well, no, I mean, if we beat Iowa State and Colorado, the math doesn't have to get too weird. Only a little weird.
Yeah, but Iowa State will only have 3 games left. They're going to have to drop one, and one of those, and I guess it can't be against Kansas State because you need them to beat Kansas State because Kansas State needs 2 more losses, and then BYU has to lose 3.
All right, everyone stop. All right, stop.
All right,
We're getting too excited.
We're getting ahead of
We're starting to believe again.
It's not even Monday
All right.
yet.
Yeah, give it some time. All right. Usually we have to get there by the weekend.
This is how sick we are.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe and comment. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know how you feel about the game because I'm sure there's a lot of pain going around the Tech fan base right now, a lot of mourning. Maybe a lot of people trying to do spin zones like we just did to try to figure out what's going to happen. But follow us on all social medias. It's TechNTortillas. That's at Tech letter N Tortillas. As always, guys, wreck 'em.